Wake up. Wake up. There you go. Something's happening.
Scott.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you are.
Hi.
Okay, here we go. Ready? The VGRT Gaming Podcast, episode 753, recorded on May 23rd, 2025.
Hello, and welcome to the 753rd edition of the TD Gaming Podcast and 586th episode of Video Game Roundtable. I am TJ Denser.
I am Scott Dirk.
And I am Jonah Falcon.
The VGRT Gaming Podcast focuses on game news from around the industry.
Right. So, yeah, we're a bit late, and for those of you wondering why I haven't uploaded my podcast to the thing, it's kind of corrupted, and I will re-upload them for you guys. But anyways, it is Friday. It is a lot of nothing going on, really. But there's some interesting news. Anyways, TJ, what have you been playing? Anything that's been recently unembargoed?
I cracked open Civilization 7, and it's very pretty, but I kind of see where the problems are. I don't mind the having a leader and picking a different civilization from that leader so much as I mind something about the city building feels like it gets really stagnant really quick.
Yeah. And also, here's the thing, a lot of people wouldn't mind doing 3 ages, except for the fact that it's so abrupt and it takes away so much, and it's like playing a new game over again. It's like there's no sense of continuity. I mean, at least in Humankind, you felt like you were guiding something. Here it's like, okay, you took away all my friends and my and a lot of my buildings, and now I have to start over again. It was a game built for multiplayer. Let's just put it that way.
I need to see how a few more of the victory conditions play out, but I'm not crazy about the science approach.
You know, here's the thing. I know a Civ must be bad because, and Scott will back me up on this. Dan Quick has not decided to play Civ 7, and he's still playing Civ 6.
Yeah. I mean, personally, mine is Civ 4.
Yeah. I thought you were Civ 5.
Well, I like Civ 5, but Civ 4 is still my favorite. And I think I noticed things tended to change and go off in a different direction when they went to 5. And now with 7, it just feels like they're just trying to figure something out to do different. And now they're doing different leaders thing, and it's it feels awkward. And
here's the thing. A lot of people have been bringing up the Sid Meier thirds thing. Have you heard the quote about Sid Meier's?
Yes.
People have been bringing it up lately. So for those who don't know, Firaxis once adopted a rule of thirds. And it is 1/3 of the game is improved, 1/3 of the game is totally new, and 1/3 of the game is totally the same. And the problem with Civ 7 is that it's not 1/3 is the same, 1/3 is improved, and 1/3 is new. And that's why a lot of people are saying it doesn't feel like a Civ game, because it doesn't follow the Sid Meier thirds rule. You know? It feels like a completely different game. And here's the thing. Maybe if they called it, I don't know, Through the Ages, that I know that name's been taken. Through the Ages, they might have gotten away with it, right? But they called it Civ, so people are expecting Civ.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't go from 3 to 4 by completely disrupting everything. I remember 3 was the one in which they first had borders around the countries instead of just having cities.
Yeah.
And that's when they started complicating it a little bit. I mean, the first Civ only had 2 victory conditions. 3 actually. Conquer the world, go to Alpha Centauri, or have the highest score at the end of the game. That was it. Then they started having diplomatic victories and culture victories and, all these other kind of victories. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of hardcore Sim fans wish they would just go back to the 3 victories, Conquer, Alpha Centauri, best score at the end of the game.
Well, I mean, you could turn off these victories if you wanted just one specific type.
But it's not built that way. Also, something I forgot and I should have remembered, Civ 1 and Civ 2, all the civs are functionally the same. Exactly the same. The only difference was the name and the leader, but it was all cosmetic. If you were American or you're Chinese, there was no difference in how you played. So, like I said, someone's going to have the bright idea of doing Civ 1 remastered and just have the original Civ with better graphics.
It's making me, so far it's making me continue to look towards Endless Legend 2. I'm really excited to see what they do there.
Yet.
I know, but they're getting ready for early access pretty soonish.
I'm still trying to give Ara History Untold another shot. The only problem I have with it is that it is so dependent on resources. It's not funny. You cannot build a wonder without having specific resources and having your cities build those resources, and they can be very specific. And it's like, it may be balanced in that not everybody can do it either, but I like the idea that you can just build a great wonder if you have the right conditions and you have the people working on it, and that's it. The only thing is that you may take longer to build a wonder and someone else doesn't. You lost the wonder because they did it first. That's the other thing, by the way, that people have noted, that in the first few Civ games, wonders meant something more. Wonders were game-breaking. You built the pyramids. Oh, look, I got democracy. You know?
Even in Civ 5, like, you get production for the rest of the game and 2 extra workers.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that then there were more wonders and more wonders and more wonders and more wonders until it really didn't matter anymore. Now wonders were just a special district. Yeah. I don't mind that necessarily. I mean, I still play Civ 6, but I would say that, I would like some wonders that are just like, oh my God, you built that wonder. Oh my, and what am I going to do now?
Yeah, and it feels like I don't know if it's just me, but like, it feels like the early age of Civ 7 blows by. Like, just flies by. There's, like, not a lot of time to sit in it and, like, hunt barbarians, build out your cities, do a few wonders. It feels like in like, maybe 20 turns, you're already ready to move out of the early ages and into, like, I don't know, like, industrial, like, Baroque era.
There are only 3 ages. The ancient
but it feels, that's what I'm saying, though, is it feels like breakneck speed compared to the previous games, doesn't it?
I told you, the game is intended for online multiplayer.
Does that mean it has to move like a bullet train?
Yes, it does, because here's the thing. When you're designing a game for a multiplayer, and here's the thing, Civ 4, Civ 5, Civ 6 were not designed for multiplayer. They were single-player games that allowed you to do multiplayer. Civ 7 is the first game that is explicitly for multiplayer because they want to NBA 2K the shit, And if you design a multiplayer game, you want 30 to an hour game, bang, 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 that's it. When you play Civ 6 or Civ 5 in multiplayer, these are long affairs. And Scott knows this as well because he always did the polycast. Because these are long affairs.
Hours.
And even with the online speed, and by the way, I play my single player games on online speed. I like it that way. I like it going zip, zip, zip. But to me, zip, zip, zip. I'm still John Curtin, the leader of Australia, and I still know it's going to take a while. So
I might need to go back to Civ 6 and play some more Tamiris. That's still Tamiris and the Scythians are still my favorite that I've played in the Civ games so far. Just because,
I hate having her as an opponent because she just sends all her horsemen at you.
She's so fast, so early, and I love that.
Well, guess what? I have a nuclear weapon.
Yeah, she's not. That's why you got to move fast in the early game with her because she's not strong in the late game unless you build religion very quickly.
But yeah, Scott, you haven't played Civ 7 yet either.
No, I haven't.
Okay. Here's the thing. The one aspect of Ara History Untold that I really, really like is the idea that it's a foot race and that when you reach a certain point in the game, it says, okay, bottom 4 civs, you're out. You're gone. No one remembers you.
Yeah.
That's a losing condition. And that's really the losing condition. I mean, there are plenty of civilizations that we've had. I mean, remember the Byzantines and we remember the Egyptians, but who remembers the Cappadocians? No one. You know why? They lost. They lost. No one cares anymore. Oh, by the way, that's the also interesting thing. You get to the modern age, and apparently Greece doesn't exist in the modern age. Or neither does Egypt. That makes no sense. So...
Yeah, I'm going to spend some more time with it. I don't think it's not terrible. It's just not. There are a lot of things about it that just threw me off because they feel very different from previous games.
Scott, what have you been playing?
I've been playing the DLC Throes of the Watchmaker for Sea of Stars, and I completed it today, in fact. And it's but basically there's a
Did you back Sea of Stars on Kickstarter?
Yes, I did. I did back it, yes. And the DLC story is basically the Watchmaker has a little this clock that has this little miniature town inside of it, and there's a dweller that the Fleshmancer
has with the city of Kandor.
Yeah, and basically you're tasked with destroying the dweller that's in the clock, and to do so you end up getting new classes with new abilities. So you get doppelgangers that your main characters have to now deal with, and they get a lot more a writing arc in that, to kind of explore why they're doing this fighting, why they're solstice warriors, and and why they want to continue that path. So it's just a nice added story arc for the main characters, because that was a complaint in the main game for those two characters.
Did you play The Messenger?
Yes, I did. I completed that before Sea of Stars came out.
Okay, I was just because for those who don't know, the Sea of Stars is actually a sequel to The Messenger. So
prequel, because
whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because I know a major character from The Messenger is at the end of Sea of Stars, and that's all I'm going to say.
The two stories are set apart by thousands of years, but there's a lore there about the universe and what's going on in there. But each game in their series is going to be a different genre. The Messenger was a platforming Metroidvania game, and of course Sea of Stars was a RPG, turn-based RPG. So their third game will be some other genre. We don't know yet what that will be.
Let me ask you a question then. Have you played Avowed yet?
Played what?
Avowed.
Oh, not yet, but that's definitely on my wish list.
Here's the thing. You played both Pillars of Eternity, right?
Yes, I did.
Here's the thing. Since I did not play them through completion, I found out that everything that happens in Avowed is directly related and the result of everything that happened in Pillars of Eternity 2. And since I did not know that, I found it out. I started, because here's the thing. I thought it was going to be something disconnected, like something that happened in another part of the world or whatever, But no, this is a direct sequel to Pillars of Eternity 2 and all its DLC, if there was any.
The events of Pillars 2 were very earth-shaking. Basically you're having a conversation with God and saying, okay, this is how humanity is going to spin out now, and you discuss with him and hammer out what you're going to do with the whole existence of reality now, because it's like Ethos was like, we got to change this. We're breaking the wheel. We're doing this differently because this isn't working. And you basically rush there to be like, to get some word in there and not just,
okay.
have a...
So that makes this a little bit easier to comprehend, because Unavowed has you being a godless.
Yeah. Or God touched, yeah.
But you're a godless. You don't know who your god is. And part of it is because you skip right through the wheel of fate, the wheel, and you do have a god. You just don't know who they are yet.
Okay.
And it's all related to the fact that you went through the wheel of fate of, the wheel of fate of reincarnation, you had an accident there, and it's all related to everything that, and you even go to the place that you're talking about without spoiling anything, where all of that conversation happened, and you see the device and the area that was used during that discussion.
Okay.
And
that's awesome.
Here's the thing: when you play Pillars, like I said, people who play Pillars of Eternity and Pillars of Eternity 2 probably were more clued into what was going on than I was. So, when you play Avowed, you're going to get a lot out of it. You're going to get a whole lot out of it, because you'll be unlike, you'll say, oh, that'll be you.
Okay.
you'll be when they're talking, you'll be like, oh, okay, I know what they're talking about. Yeah, I didn't know they were going to bring that up, but guess what? They brought it up.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. The only difference is you'll be playing the Skyrim version of Pillars instead of the Larian version. So
I do hope we get another isometric turn-based, or I guess RPG version of Pillars. I want a Pillars 3 one day, and we'll just have to see, I guess.
Well, like I said, you're going to get a lot out of it. So here's the thing. I really enjoyed it, even though I see some people complain it's a bit short. I didn't think it was short. I thought it was dense. There was a lot of things I could have done, but I didn't do.
Okay.
So, yeah. Anyways, as for me, I've been playing a lot of Into the Restless Ruins. For those who don't know, it is a dungeon deck builder. Unlike Blueprints, you're just laying down tiles of rooms, and then you have your person go down into the rooms, and it's an auto battler. You just move them. You don't. It's sort of like Vampire Survivors in that way, in that you don't actually make them fight. They fight by themselves. You make them walk, and also there is no mini map. And your torch keeps on getting darker and darker. You better remember where those rooms are, because when it goes out, your life comes out and you die. There are rooms in which you can replenish your torch. You have to put it strategically, and it's not for everyone. It is for me. It's the sort of game that speaks to me. It is, and it's a lot less frustrating in one way in the Blueprints, because the Blueprints is basically a puzzle game more than it is a roguelike, in which you're trying to figure out, how do I do this? How do I do this? How do I do this? Here, I have to unlock this. I have to unlock this. I have to build this thing in order to, I have to build a jackhammer to go through walls, and you're not always going to have the components to do the jackhammer because it's a roguelike. Into the Restless Ruins, the only thing that you really have to do is make sure that you build it so that you can keep your torchlight open and you can remember where you're going. Like I said, there's no mini map. And as you go and increase levels, as you go into the next dungeon, they get bigger and bigger and bigger. And now you're like, oh, wait. Oh, wait, is this? No. Oh, wait, it goes. Wait, did I have to go south? Do I have to go south here? No, and it's a really helpless feeling when you realize, oh my God, I'm lost and I'm going to die. Because every time you die, you add skulls to the bar. And if the skulls fill up 4 times, or the 4 bars fill up, you have to do the entire thing over again because you failed. So,
that sounds brutal.
It's not. You never feel like it's unfair because it's all your fault. Everything that happens, no matter what, your fault. It's like the best kind of Souls-like, in which when you die, you say, "Well, that was my fault because I didn't do the pattern right." Here it's, "Oh, it's my fault because I forgot which rooms I put down," and it's like a good memory test. I also saw a game for only like $5. It's a little teeny weeny little city builder. It's called Kingdoms and Castles, and it's fine. I'm trying to see if I like it or not. It's good. And also, I started something called Kulubra and the Souls of Limbo. It is it's a puzzle game. It's a cozy puzzle game. It's okay. I really don't have any opinion on it right now. I also played a lot of Doom, the Dark Ages. Did you? Either of you played Doom?
I haven't jumped into it yet.
No, I haven't played Doom in a long time.
It's on my list.
Yeah. So here's a little warning. It's very easy. You have to make it harder. You have to. As a matter of fact, the moment you log in, it gives you these options right off the bat. So it's sort of like, you know what? Like for example, parrying. It's very generous. Like you can make it so that the window of parrying becomes this small, so you can give yourself a challenge. So whatever challenge you want, you can make the challenge. One thing that surprised me, I did not know this coming ahead of time. I'm pretty sure you knew, but there's no multiplayer at all. And I'm thinking, there's going to be multiplayer coming in, and when they do add a multiplayer DLC, it's going to kick ass.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that they just didn't even do like a regular deathmatch mode. I think this is one of the first times that they've just completely skipped it at launch.
I think they were more worried about getting it out and having a polished game. And I think the multiplayer is going to come in like a few months when people are getting sick and tired of playing single player, and they're going to say, "Okay, here we go."
Yeah, I hope so. It feels strange to have a Doom game that doesn't have any kind of multiplayer in it whatsoever. And I'm sure that you're right. I'm sure that it is coming. It's just strange to see that it didn't come at launch.
One thing I'm wondering is if they're going to do a Call of Duty with it and make a separate Doom that's free for everybody, not just Game Pass, and that is only multiplayer, like they did with Halo too. So that might be coming. They may have a Doom multiplayer that's a separate game altogether, which wouldn't be bad. I mean, it's a free live service game, multiplayer. Go, sure. It wouldn't be a hero shooter, or it wouldn't be a Slayer shooter. Pick your own Slayer. By the way, they call him the Slayer. They don't call him the Doom Slayer. They call him the Slayer this time around, which is interesting.
Well, it's a prequel. He's got to earn the Doom part.
The other thing is that I was not expecting. Now, here's the thing: Doom and Doom Eternal had minimal story at best. This one is all about the story. There's multiple factions on good and evil. Like it's sort of like, like the evil side is like hell is rented out Lovecraftian horrors, and they're not exactly they're not always in agreement. And one of the levels, you have this tentacle from space. The skyboxes are amazing. You have this tentacle from space coming down. So yeah, when you do play it, you can make it as hard as you want. A lot of the games is finding out the secrets, which is always Doom. I mean, so yeah. So is that you? No, it's not Scott. Oh, it is you, DJ. You're getting some feedback.
Feedback.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think it's I think one of your things is too close to. It's getting some electrical. I can always remove it from the podcast version. Just remove the sound. There you go. Hey, it went away because you went away. I think it's your headphones.
No, how's it now?
No. Oh, it's perfect. Yeah, there we go.
I think it's my fan. My fan is kind of loud.
Okay. So, anyways, we're going to move on to quick news. The FTC finally drops its appeal against Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard, and I was surprised to hear they were still trying to appeal it. After a year, I think it was.
Yeah.
Although, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I heard King's Quest and some of the old Sierra titles got added to Game Pass.
Okay, that's not what I'm talking about.
I know, but I meant in relation.
But here's the thing. Oh no, I know what you're talking about. No, it was Retro Classics that was added to Game Pass.
Okay.
And it has it has all the usual Atari 2600 games and Intellivision games and Magic games. But what was really weird is that it has some really recent games too. It has the King's Quest games, and it has what the hell was that?
I don't know.
Retro Classics also has, and I'm going into their store page. I can find it. It has Mech Warrior 1 and 2. All these. So when they say Retro Classics, they just don't mean the Atari 2600 games. They mean a lot of recent games. That's you, Scott. That's making those noises.
Sorry.
So, yeah, it's really weird. But anyways, as when it was dropped, I suddenly realized, oh, that's why. That's why Microsoft is doing so many giving some of their exclusives to PlayStation. Because it's a middle finger to the FTC. Because they're accusing them of being a monopoly. Well, guess what? If Microsoft is releasing Indiana Jones and the Great Circle to the PlayStation, then how are they a monopoly? They just announced they're releasing the first Gears of War to PlayStation. So, yeah, all of these things I think Microsoft is doing, not only because they want to promote Game Pass, but also because they want to give their middle fingers to FTC and say, hey, guess what? We're doing a lot of first-party titles for the competition. Can you say we're being a monopoly? No. And, you know, Gears of War is 20 years old now, and that makes me feel really old now.
Yeah.
Gears of War 1 is almost 20 years old. So, but yeah. But after that nonsense is out of the way, it seems like Microsoft hasn't exactly been dominating everything. I mean, and also because Call of Duty is also on PlayStation after they went, well, we're going to collapse if we don't have Call of Duty, which is a bold lie. I don't think people will stop buying PS5s because they can't play Call of Duty. It's overly simplistic and stupid.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I noticed something, Microsoft making their new Xbox is going to be more and more like a PC, but just with, and I see a sort of strategy coming there. And by the way, here's the thing. PlayStation's also becoming more and more like a PC that doesn't come with a keyboard and mouse.
Might as well just get a PC.
No, but the point is that Microsoft and their handheld and also their new thing with Razer, they're wanting to get in on that Valve action.
Yeah, there are a lot of people out there that do care about the Steam Deck, and to the point where Steam Deck Verified is actually that's a thing that people want to find out about as soon as possible when it comes to new games now.
And now Microsoft is going to start making their Game Pass games, and Game Pass is on PC, by the way, and make that Steam Deck verified as well. So, and like I said, Microsoft sees the lines are blurring between PC and console, and pretty soon they're going to be basically the same thing. And they also know it's going to be more and more digital, and they also know that there's going to be more and more streaming. So they're trying to get ahead of the curve of that. So that's their strategy, folks. They want to be ahead of the curve on streaming and PC and cloud and everything else. And, oh, God, I didn't put this in. That just reminds me of price. Yeah, Randy, shut up. Please, Randy, shut up.
Which Randy?
Randy Pitchford. He said real fans will spend $80 for Borderlands 4.
Yeah. No.
Randy, you should have just said nothing and just made it $80. You should have said nothing and just made it $80 and said nothing about it. And no, now you what's it called? Now you've put a direct challenge to your fans. Little hint: people weren't thrilled with Borderlands 3 to begin with, and the movie you put out was really bad. So it's sort of like he's taking a piss in a windy day. He's only going to piss on his own face.
Yeah, I don't understand why you would do that. I know to a certain degree it's not Randy Pitchford's call. He doesn't own Borderlands anymore. 2K
does.
So, to an extent, I understand what he's going for, which is to say, I don't have control over the situation. If you want to buy it, buy it. If you don't. But the way he says it, the way he says things is man, he needs a PR person to just stand there and be like, don't do that.
Oh, he's said a lot of stupid things before. I mean,
I know, and that's why I'm saying he needs Randy Pitchford, of all people, needs somebody that's like a PR person to stand there and be like, "Don't do that, Randy."
This just feels like another incident of these execs just having no clue about the customer base. Like they just have no idea what players want and what they're thinking, and they're like in a totally different world.
Here's the thing. People might say, oh, it's $80 now. Don't worry. It'll be $30 soon enough. It'll be $30 soon enough. Don't worry.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. And this is one of the news items. What's it called? I think it's quick news. Yeah, it's quick news. One of the thing is that Microsoft has basically changed the game with Game Pass, because what happened, I knew would happen, and that is Metaphor ReFantazio is coming to Game Pass this month, next week. And I knew it because Atlas, And the thing is that people are just going to say, well, let's wait until it comes to Game Pass. Because I'm going to say right now, Metaphor ReFantazio is a game changer take for Game Pass right now. I held out, and I knew that the demo would keep my my save files. And now I'm going to be able to play Metaphor ReFantazio on Game Pass, and I got to make sure that I spend out a lot of time for that, because it's still like 100 to 120 hours, isn't it?
Yeah, it's at least 110 to get through a lot of 100 to get through a lot of the main story, and that's not including side quests and extra dungeons and stuff like that.
And it's quite the 1-2 punch, isn't it? Clear Obscure Expedition 33 on Game Pass, and a few weeks later you have Metaphor ReFantazio, and it's sort of like they're coming out with a lot of good shit right now. Monster Train was stealth dropped on Game Pass yesterday, and I didn't even know there was a sequel coming out.
Claire Obscure is extremely dope. I did not mention it at the beginning, but I have been playing a little bit of that too when I can.
Yeah, it's a strange game.
Oh, it's so good.
But people are loving it.
But here's the strange part of it is that you could have your first level characters not level up at all and still be able to conceivably beat the game, because if you're able to dodge and parry and jump, they'll never get hurt. Of course, there's a big old fat if, because learning those patterns, and sometimes they change the patterns, and we discussed this last week. Sometimes they do little pauses in their patterns to throw you off your timing.
Mm-hmm. And that's why parry and dodge exist. Parry is much tighter timing. Dodge is more forgiving. So the idea is that you're supposed to use dodge to learn the patterns until you're ready for a parry. That said, the hype is real. The music is great. The characters are awesome. The story is gripping right out of the gate.
One of the things I like to advise people is use the French language and have English subtitles.
Yeah. I haven't put it on French yet, but the English voices have been pretty good so far. I'm actually curious to hear what it sounds like in French.
Also, Crypt Custodian is coming out the same day as Metaphor ReFantazio, and I've been told by a lot of people that don't sleep on that game. For those who don't know, it's a cat who is forced to be an afterworld's janitor.
That sounds adorable.
They also made him look like a Hollow Knight. Speaking of which, Creatures of Ava was just released on Game Pass, and that is also sort of a Hollow. Oh no, I'm sorry. Symphonia is Hollow Knight with music, and it's already out, but it's coming to Game Pass on June 3rd.
Symphonia is Hollow Knight with music, huh?
That's right. Senua's Saga is not only going to Game Pass Standard, which is the cheap version of Game Pass, but guess what? They're releasing it on PlayStation too. They're like Microsoft is flexing their muscle. Yeah,
it does look that way.
You want to? Yeah, sure. You can pay for it on the PlayStation, but it's on Game Pass too. But yeah, and here's the thing: a lot of the games that they have, they're curating really well, except for the obvious things like, who cares if The Division 2 comes to Game Pass? Really? That's just Ubisoft saying we want more people to play. We need that sweet, sweet live service money. Have you played Stalker 2 yet, by the way?
Oh yeah, I've played the hell out of that game.
Okay. Just wondering, because it's going to Game Pass Standard now, which is, again, like I said, the cheap version of Game Pass. At some point, Sony's going to have to start considering beefing up their PlayStation Pass because it ain't cutting it.
Yeah, and that's an issue they've had for a pretty long time, too. They don't really have anything that competes, and I don't think they really bothered to come up with anything. And to a certain extent, it must just be that they don't feel the need to, or they don't feel threatened by Game Pass, because PlayStation Plus is like their higher up programs are kind of supposed to be like that, but they just don't hit. There's not a lot of cool stuff in there that Game Pass has.
But here's the thing: every time a PlayStation owner sees, oh wait, Metaphor ReFantazio is on Game Pass, and I wouldn't have had to pay for it. It's just sort of just. Microsoft says, "Hey, look, we'll release some of our games on PlayStation. Indiana Jones, a couple of months late, but guess what? It was on Game Pass for a few months before I released it on PlayStation." And here's the thing: you'll notice that a lot of times, these timed exclusives really work because by the time it comes to the other platforms, people are like, "Who cares? Who cares? It's old news. We have new news now." Speaking of which, let's move on to game news. Larian insisted to not accidentally leak Divinity Original Sin 3. This comes to us from PC Gamer. There was a brief surge of excitement a couple of days ago when Larian Studios temporarily changed its handle on X from @Larian Studios to @Divinity. Larian made a clean break from Baldur's Gate, but what it's doing next remains a mystery. The studio apparently has 2 new RPGs in development, and both of them are supposed to be really big, and people are assuming that it's going to be a new Divinity game. So maybe Divinity Original Sin 3 then? But after the hype started, Michael Dowse said, no, sorry. It was a mistake. There's no official time frame in place for the reveal of Larian's next game, but Vink has said in April that he hopes the studio will have something to show by 2030. The fuck? That's 5 years away.
Yeah, that's an insane amount of time.
That RPG also better give me a blowjob.
Jesus Christ.
So I was looking back.
Yeah, that's exactly the music I give that news.
I was looking back at some of the news about the Divinity series, and yeah, they said that after they were completely done with Baldur's Gate 3, they were going to take a break.
Well, no, it wasn't that they're completely. But they told Hasbro to go fuck off.
No. I'm saying that.
I think they're a little plainer than that.
I'm talking in relation to this particular story, not talking about Hasbro. They said, and this was back in July 28, 2023. The director, Sven Venke, he was saying that like Divinity Original Sin is our own universe we built. So we're definitely going to get back there at some point. We'll get back there. We will finish Baldur's Gate 3 now and then take a break because we need to refresh ourselves creatively.
By the way, it wouldn't be funny if they did to Divinity Original Sin what Obsidian did with Pillars of Eternity and decided to create a Skyrim version of Original Sin.
I don't remember that.
No, I imagine if they did that. I'm not going to say they did that. By the way, you know what game I have and I haven't really played yet, and that's Scott knows the game because I think he completed it. You know the game Obsidian made, which was about evil winning, and you had to be an evil.
Oh, Tyranny.
Yeah. I still haven't completed that game.
Yeah, I haven't finished it either. I want to be the good guy, you know.
Good luck. You're the vanguard of an evil nation.
Yeah, I know.
There's just so much you can do. Just like when I was a Sith, like I was not a Sith Inquisitor, Imperial agent in Knights of the Old Republic, or the Old Republic, and it's sort of like there's just so much you can do as as a spy for the Empire. The best you can do is be a double agent. But yeah, it's interesting because Hasbro is looking for someone to do Baldur's Gate 4.
Right.
I don't look forward, or I feel bad for whoever does take those reins, because there's going to be a whole bunch of expectations to be better than Baldur's Gate 3 when it could just simply be different.
Imagine if Hasbro goes to Microsoft, hey, can you have Obsidian make it so long as you make it multi-platform? At this point, Microsoft would say, sure.
If
we don't mind making it multi-platform.
If there was going to be a group that was going to make it another like isometric RPG, then I think
they have two studios, InXL and Obsidian. I think both of them could probably do a good job.
I'm looking forward to InXile's Clockwork game, to tell you the truth.
I wouldn't even go with either of those ones. I would go with the ones who made the Pathfinder, the recent Pathfinder CRPGs.
Oh, those guys, yeah.
Yeah,
they're very good, and I think that they could actually do something on Larian's level.
The Owlcat games.
Yeah, the Owlcat Pathfinders are really, really awesome. Like those were people slept on those, but those were Wrath of the Righteous was like Baldur's Gate 3 before Baldur's Gate 3.
Well, here's the thing: Owlcat made D&D games without the D&D license, because those are completely D&D games.
Yeah, they're awesome too. Like I really enjoyed playing them.
I don't like the ticking time bombs sometimes of the game, but hey, that's what sets it apart. The Pathfinder games, if you take too long, guess what? You lose.
Yeah,
because there are things happening in the world. You better react to them, because if you let them go without addressing them,
yeah,
literally, there's the entire place blows up.
But mechanically and like visually, like as far as artistry and gameplay go, I think they're on that level.
Yeah. I'm gonna look this up. Baldur's Gate. Let's see if they. So yeah, they had a quote. Owlcat Game says, not everyone can make a Baldur's Gate 3. Now he said that last year. That'll be a deeply ironic statement if they make Baldur's Gate 4. Not everybody can make a Baldur's Gate 3, but only we can make a Baldur's Gate 4.
And see, that's the other thing about this. Like, it's Forgotten Realms. There's a huge amount of places they can go in Forgotten Realms that are nowhere near Baldur's Gate. And it's just, you can make a D&D game, and you focus on the Shadowdale area, or Coromare, or there's so many places.
The problem is that Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast basically fucked over the Forgotten Realms setting. I don't know if you've been following what's going on with Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast and D&D. In short, creators and fans are not happy. So you just Google whatever, you're going to find they're not happy right now with what's going on. So long story short, Hasbro is flexing their they're pulling a Nintendo, basically. They're forcing people to pay all these licensing fees to make modules and stuff like that. It's a mess right now. Not to mention, it's really a mess with Wizards of the Coast and Magic the Gathering, too. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Magic the Gathering is putting in every single IP it can get its hands on. It's like...
It's not only that. There's a lot of other stuff going on with Magic the Gathering. And,
yeah. AIO.
Here's the thing. As a Magic the Gathering player, I haven't ever played Magic the Gathering that didn't include Mana Burn. How many people remember Mana Burn?
Yeah, that's a pain. Sometimes you do it on purpose, though. There
were burn decks. Yes, when you force your opponent to what's it called, die by burn. Don't use that magic. Well, guess what? And here's the thing. I like that rule. I understand that they did it to make the game less complicated and more attractive to newbies. But having to make sure that you had mana to spend. There are certain artifacts in which they had the X symbol there that you can spend any amount of mana to use on it. Very often, those were things that would help you get away from having mana burn. Oh boy, there are people who are in their 20s who don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. In their late 20s, they have no idea what I'm talking about. Man of what? Man of what? Oh, those birds of paradise, those Llanowar elves. My personal favorite were Serra angels.
Oh yeah.
4/4 flying creatures that came in untapped. And
I'm sure they still have it.
They do. Oh no, they have Serra other things, you know. The Llanowar elves, those guys who just were like annoying. Yeah, these 1/1 creatures pop out. Oh, by the way, you can tap them for green mana. Oh, here comes a shambling Hulk.
Yeah, I think they took out poison and some other stuff as well.
There's a lot of stuff that was banned for tournaments.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I know nothing about Pokemon, but I often like to play videos about people complaining about banned cards in Pokemon and overpowered cards in Pokemon. Just because I have no idea what the cards are. I'm just going by their word of what they do. So, yeah, moving back to... I tried to like Baldur's Gate 3. I did. I honestly did. But it just wasn't working for me.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same way, mostly because it just like wasn't really into the party and just...
It wasn't the party, it was the gameplay mechanics. And, you know, I know it's a lot like Divinity Original Sin 2, but still, you know.
I got the most out of it by like me and Sam, my spouse. We started the game with our own characters. We didn't pick the pre-mades that were in the game. We started with our own created characters, and then we kind of like gathered the party and picked our favorites for our third and fourth. But it's always been like our two characters that we created decide the events of the story. Compare and interact with the other characters, and I feel like that's kind of just made it more engaging and fun for us as far as the way that the story goes.
Which one of you humped the vampire?
His character, but my character is like a druid. So his character is a tiefling that is like just has zero compassion for humanity, very thievy, very sly. Also controls chaos magic. My character is a druid that just has no social skills whatsoever, but she's very perceptive and understands nature and can see like secrets. So they're just two socially awkward characters that we're just playing through this world full of chaos and mind flayers.
Okay. So, anyways, we're gonna move on to the next item. Go ahead, Scott.
Okay. So let's see. Okay. Bonaparte, a Mechanized Revolution announced. This is from PC Gamer. Bonaparte, a Mechanized Revolution puts you in the uniform of Bonaparte himself in the turbulent years of 1789 onwards as Caesar or Céline Bonaparte, the famous revolutionary heroine who fought for either the ultra-royalists, the Monocrats, or the Jacobins, depending on which choice you pick at the start of the game. It's a tactical XCOM-ish thing where you're moving your battalions and death robots around and setting them on your foes, and broader strategic view where you're competing with other factions for control and influence over the different counties of France. The third mode is narrative visual novel scenes where you have a tete-a-tete with the era's notables and rally your votes to pass and reject laws in National Assembly. This is, if the towering battle mechs didn't tip you off, is an alternate history, but nevertheless tries to hew relative close to the real outline and personalities of the French Revolution as it happened. The Commodore-Trice, still a unpleasant reactionary. Rossberry, still very keen on
Robespierre. Come on.
Robespierre, sorry. I forget. Still very keen on virtue and terror. Lafayette, still very bad at seeing what is obviously happening around him. Events move inexorably towards conclusions that feel inevitable. Except, of course, you are Bonaparte and you can make your own history.
Yeah, so this is basically French Revolution XCOM. So you have the tactical aspect, you have the world aspect, and you also have the visual novel scenes. And by the way, they're in XCOM. You just can't choose anything, but you're always, what's his face? The commander's always talking to you and stuff like that. So this is something I didn't know I wanted.
Yeah, everything about,
Go to BonaparteGame.com.
it's the premise alone makes me want to at least dig in and see how it plays out as far as a narrative goes.
Go to BonaparteGame.com and see the screenshots.
I can see them, and everything about it looks it's something.
Actually, a little bit of it reminds me of Advance Wars, too.
This robot has,
Yes, it's dressed in red. It has a Cylon eye.
And it's just hunting down peasants with a giant, heat saber.
Yeah.
What a thing.
Are these French or Japanese developers?
I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised. See, the developer they're Quebecois.
Ah, they're French.
They're French, but not only are they French, they're from Quebec. So they're ultra French.
Ah. French
with more French than French.
French with a bit of North American nationalism.
French with a little bit of North American attitude. Yeah, you must speak. You have to have French language on everything, or else you can't sell here. But yeah, you have the map, and and it's hopefully it's everything. It's perfectly possible for this game to be bad, right? But hopefully it works well. If it fulfills its promise, in other words.
Well, it's got its foot in the door. I'm curious about it now.
Yeah.
Also, we could use more different ideas in the XCOM space. I like that style.
The Star Wars XCOM game coming soon, so
right. But I'm saying we need. That's going to be the formula because it's from the same guys who made XCOM. It's going to be similar ideas. I hope that I want to see more different ideas and different concepts in that space because the XCOM thing doesn't have to be XCOM 1 and 2 just reapplied to everything all the time. It can be
Well, the big difference in this one is you have people voting on laws and on reforms and all that stuff. So not only are you doing the tactical stuff, but you're also doing the strategic stuff. And I don't mean strategic as in XCOM strategic.
Politics.
I mean strategic as in Romance of the Three Kingdoms strategy.
Yeah. And that seems cool. I would like to see more games in this genre that aren't under AAA direction because that's where you get the sauce. That's where you get new ideas and you get things cooking.
Here's the thing. Also, this game is also funded by Canada too.
Nice.
Because for those who don't know, Canada gives money to people who promote Canadian stuff. Like Second City, SETV, they always had to do Canadian stuff. And what's funny is that the Canada Media Fund complained that it wasn't Canadian enough. So you know how SCTV responded? That's how the McKenzie brothers popped up, because that was just making it as Canadian as friggin' possible, as Canadian as Bob and Doug. It's like, oh, Hoser, hey, oh, all that stuff. That was the entire reason for the Great White North. Was because the Canada's Media Fund was complaining that SCTV wasn't Canadian enough, even though it obviously was. So they said, yeah, okay, screw you. We're just going to do this. Bob and Doug McKenzie. Sort of like someone accusing you of not being American enough. So your next episode, you have someone in a cowboy hat eating hot dogs, wearing a Star Spangled Banner shirt and saying, let's go watch some football. Yeah, it's the French Revolution if they had giant mechs.
I'm interested. I want to see more.
Well, anyways, we're going to move on to the next item. Go ahead, TJ.
ConcernedApe hopes to release Haunted Chocolatier within the next 5 years.
Again with 2030. What the fuck?
From Shack News. ConcernedApe created one of the most beloved indies of all time with Stardew Valley, and he's been hard at work on his sophomore effort, Haunted Chocolatier, when he's not making patches for Stardew Valley. It's not expected to release anytime soon, and ConcernedApe himself knows that there's still a lot of work to be done, but says it's his goal to have the game out within the next 5 years. Eric ConcernedApe Barone was on Tiger Belly, a podcast hosted by comedian Bobby Lee, where he was asked about a timetable for Haunted Chocolatier's release. Will it be coming out within the next 5 years? Bobby Lee asked him. I hope so. I mean, that's the goal, Barone responded. He went on to say there's a lot that still needs to be done with the game.
So it wasn't him who said it was within the next 5 years. It was the podcaster. So at least there's that.
He said that's the goal, though. That's worth noting. Barone also acknowledged the pressure that comes with following up on Stardew Valley, stating that he feels Haunted Chocolatier needs to be better than the 2016 hit farming sim.
No,
Good Lord. No, it does not. It absolutely doesn't. Dude, that's a worrying sentiment. He should not try to make it better than Stardew Valley on day one. Haunted Chocolatier was announced back in 2021. ConcernedApe has been hard at work on it, but he took an extended break from its development as he worked to release and clean up issues with Stardew Valley's 1.6 update. And like going back to that, like, man, Stardew Valley is like one of the most influential modern indie games of all time, I would say at this point. You do not have to clear that bar on day one.
Well, it revived the farming life sim. Remember, it was on life support because no one cared about Harvest Moon anymore. It's like,
and like the games that had come out that were like that, even in the Harvest Moon series, were not very good.
That's why I said it was on life support. And but it also had this huge boon of all these indie games that came out that realized we don't have to be all that. We don't have to. We don't have to. There's a denseness to Stardew Valley, and you don't have to make it look like a AAA game.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's. I don't think it's going to look like a triple. He's still doing the pixel art stuff. So
no, I know. I'm just saying, but the what's it called? When Stardew Valley came out, people said, "Hell, you know what?" And it only cost $20.
But could you imagine a pixel game that was AAA, like? Just the amount of content.
Sure, he can. Mega Man 9. Mega Man 10.
I would argue that that's also the Dragon Quest 8 2D HD games.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of Hollow Knight. I mean, a lot of games have a retro look now, and we could all thank Cave Story for that. Cave Story just exploded, and people said, "Wait a minute, people like this kind of game."
This is the exact kind of sentiment, though, that is like, this is why we can't get Half-Life 3, because no matter what Half-Life 3 ends up being, it's not going to be better than the expectation of what Half-Life 3 should be.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's like, I mean, shouldn't Valve had worried that Portal 2 was not going to live up to Portal? I mean, here's the thing: not everything could be everything. You're not going to hit a home run every time. We just want a triple or a double.
Yeah, and I mean, like, you're exactly right. That's the nail on the head. Like, to a certain extent, I'm just happy that Haunted Chocolatier will exist. I'm happy that Eric Barone gets to do, or like ConcernedApe gets to do more things, because clearly they're very good at making games. And
I mean, here's the thing, they didn't know how Gears Tactics was going to be received when it first came out. That offshoot of, I don't know, it wasn't Oblivion. I think it was offshoot of the Initiative, who decided to make this fun little XCOM Gears of War game, and people loved it, but they didn't know it was going to be good. Look at Clockwork Revolution by inXile. That's a big risk. I don't think inXile has ever done any kind of game like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and Haunted Chocolatier also just looks like it's supposed to be very different from Stardew Valley. I get that it's still like a business management sim, and
How
in some
deep does
ways it will
business
be similar.
management sim have to be? I mean, he says he wants to make it as good as Stardew Valley, but here's the thing: Stardew Valley. One of the reasons why it's so good is that you can put a lot of time in and discover new things. A business sim, not so much.
Yeah.
Unless he's trying to figure out, maybe he's saying, "Oh, let's see how many chocolates we can make."
And like on a timeline long enough, you can totally make this game as cool as Stardew Valley. But like, you need time. You need time to get, and that's one of the things about Era of Barone too. ConcernedApe is that like they seem very meticulous about like addressing the things that they want to do and also addressing the things that their audience wants them to do. And that was very clear by the way that they spent that much time on Stardew Valley 1.6 after they said that 1.5 was going to be the last thing. They clearly care, and I think everybody appreciates that. But man, don't kill yourself over it.
I mean, let's look at Bonaparte and Mechanized Revolution. I mean, they're putting a lot of time into it, as much time as Eric put into Stardew Valley. You know, because it's promising a deep gameplay, and and here's the thing. I'm looking at it. You know how much memory this is going to take up? It's only going to be 3 gigabytes on your hard drive.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't have to be perfect. Just make something that's fun.
Yeah. We'll see what happens. I hope it does come out within the next. I hope it comes out sooner than 5 years, but we'll see what happens.
I hope so too. Moving on to the last item, Elden Ring Nightreign could receive a 2-player mode post-launch, and this comes to us from Eurogamer. Elden Ring Nightreign's director has apologized for the lack of a 2-player mode in the multiplayer spin-off, but is considering adding it post-launch. Cooperative game is designed for 3 players, although it's possible to play alone too. However, a 2-player option does not exist, which is strange. You have a 1-player version, a 3-player version, but 2 players, no.
I didn't know I had a 1-player version.
Yeah, the simple answer is that this is simply something that was overlooked during development as just a 2-player option. So we're sorry about that. As you said before, we're set out to make this multiplayer co-op game for 3 players, balanced for 3 players. So that was the main focus at its core of Nightreign. In addition, development team from Software considered solo play from the start. Still, playing solo is a much more challenging experience without teammates to revive you, although Ishikazaki hints that there is a self-revive feature hidden around the map for players to discover. From Software has made some tweaks to the network test back in February, just judging by the player numbers. Many were struggling to defeat the first Night Lord Gladius. Following the test, Ishizaki said the team had, quote-unquote, received a lot of helpful feedback regarding the difficulty and that Gladius would receive some updates.
I didn't think it was that hard, but okay. Man, From Software fans claim to be some of the hardest gamers in gaming, and then they complain about the difficulty up until we get the things nerfed. This also happened with Shadow of the Erd Tree, by the way.
That also happened with Armored Core 6.
Yes. Oh, the Zimmerman shotgun is too good. I'm sorry.
It's like people forget how to have fun. Just have fun.
I understand if it's like ridiculous to the point where like it's impossible to get past the challenge, but I played the test. It didn't seem harder than other From Software things I've played. I don't know. I do think that it should have a duos mode, and single player mode is like really hard in that game. So I guess I didn't even know that it existed because I never had a chance to do that. But
there you go.
But duos would be fine.
There's a hidden self-revive feature. You just have to find it on the map.
Duos seems fine though. It's just that like I imagine that they have to balance like enemy appearances and health bars and all sorts of stats if they're going to make the game for like a duo set and a trio set, where you gotta alter some of the values. And I imagine that in a game like this, that takes a lot of time.
Yeah. I wouldn't know. Elden Ring is for losers.
Well, that's mean, but
yeah.
Anyways, To be now being serious, I just don't like grind fests. That's all.
I
It's
know.
just too grindy for me.
It is.
It's not,
true.
It's not hard. It's just a grind. I don't like a grind. I'm gonna be playing Blue Dragon again, and that's gonna be a grind. But at least there's charm to it.
Yeah, and like you don't get killed in Blue Dragon and then get told go back to where you died and get your stuff, or you lose it forever.
No, what it does is say, oh, you're gonna have to grind your way up to here. So go run around the map and have these random encounters that are completely boring, just so you can beat this boss.
Yeah, but like I'm interested to see what this. I really am interested to see what Nightreign ends up doing, because I having played in the playtest, it is a unique spin from the normal Elden Ring gameplay, where like it's not about exploring the world and
It's about survival. Yeah,
it's about getting to these encounters as fast as you can and grabbing everything that you can to arm yourself along the way. And
but here's the thing: it's coming out next week.
yeah. I also like the classes where like you don't have to where they actually have abilities that are unique to them that are pretty cool. That's been fun. It's been fun exploring that stuff, and I hope and it looks like they're going to be adding more like post launch. So it's going to be interesting to see how well this one does, because it's one of the first times I've seen From Software just do a straight up spin-off of something.
And yeah, I mean, survival games, they're fun.
There.
Anyways, look for our show notes at gamingpodcast.net, along with industry news and our gaming history articles. We enjoy your feedback, so leave us a comment at blog at gamingpodcast.net. Also, hit us up at facebook.com/gamingpodcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes and leave us some iTunes comments or whatever streaming service you use. You can find me at Blue Sky at Jonah Falcon.
You can find me at Johnny Chugs.
You can find me at Shard the Sage.
Okay, and we will see you next week.
Happy gaming, everyone.
Have fun, be cool, play games, y'all.